Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
The podcast. We live one more time. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I'm feeling this. We in the building a couple times a week now.
On them real quick.
Yeah. One time. ELR was good though.
Man, I'm good, man. Having living life, enjoying every bit of it. How you doing, man?
Or chilling. Here, Milwaukee, holding it down.
Yeah. How everything been going back in the mill, man? How y'all been doing out there, man?
Shit, living it up, doing what DJs do, I'm down here. I'm like, man, fuck it, let's go live one time. Called the homie in. We've been connected lately and shit. Like, hey, fuck it, let's get down, because he wasn't on none of the older episodes, and we just bump into each other like, yo, man, get me on. You know what I'm saying? So my guy Rucker, he has a different type of story than usual. Cats normally DJ and then get into production and shit like that. But, my man took a whole different angle. You know what I mean? He used to rap, back in the day. Then got into the production. I mean, the promo, promotions and shit. Turned the club all the way up. I don't know if y'all remember Oak back in the day. And then, turned to the site. So, I'm not even going to tell the brother's story. You feel what I'm saying? I'm already giving it too much away. But, without further ado, my man Rucker, introduce yourself, bro.
What's up, y'all? My name is Rucker Krieger. I'm from Milwaukee. Well, now I live in Milwaukee, but always kind of been in Wisconsin. Started off rapping, I guess, kind of, making my own music. And then, opened up for different rappers back in the day, Yellow Wolf, whatever the works. Then I got into promotions, and I was a club promoter for 4 or 5 years, and then that turned into emceeing in the club for other DJs, and then now here we are. Now I am DJing, and I'm about 2 years in now, so it's been pretty good.
That's what's up.
Word. Let's not skip over any of that. So you starting what year? You start off like taking it serious, like, all right, I'm in the game, I'm rapping, I'm good at it. How'd you end up on the tour, or how did all that start?
Yeah, so I mean, I was always I graduated high school in 2009. For starters, I went to kind of a boondocks-ass high school. I'm from West Bend, Kewaskum area, which isn't really the biggest of towns, but
how far is that from Milwaukee?
It's about 50 minutes.
Okay,
maybe an hour, but a lot of farm fields, a lot of people driving their trucks and tractors to school. So
shit.
I already know how that is.
Yeah, so I mean, basically, it was one of those things where I never fully fit in with anyone. So the moment I graduated, I kind of knew what I wanted to do. So I was always taking like popular remixes of like Drake and Meek and all that stuff, and then I was kind of putting my own twist on it, freestyling over it, whatever. And then I was like, dang, this is actually pretty cool. Like out of nowhere, people in my hometown was kind of messing with me, which was crazy because that's the hardest place to get any kind of support.
Yeah, for sure.
But then the moment that I graduated, probably I would say within 2 years of graduating, I went to college out there, and then I moved to Milwaukee. And that's when I really started taking it serious. I started messing with a guy named FYoDJ, who now owns a huge videography company called Forever Productions. But at the time, he was one of the gnarliest rappers / producers. So he used to produce all my tracks for me. It was kind of funny because I spent all this time making freestyles and rapping over stuff that I thought was hard, kind of putting my own take on it. And then it kind of took a funny route because we had this idea because I think Kiss FM used to do this thing back in the day called Kiss Icon. And basically what you had to do was...
Oh, you was on that?
Yeah, well, I tried to be.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I was. But in general, at the time, it was one of those things where you had to record a top 40 type song, which is a little out of my range, but I figured I would try it and see how I did because at the time, Corey Piper was always on it and stuff like that. And later down the road, we became really good friends. But in layman's terms, I dropped this song, and it was me trying to sing some girly type shit. And it was funny because for the longest time, everybody was downloading it and playing it to almost as a joke. So I was like, man, forget this. I'm never doing this shit again. And then from that point on, I was sheerly just dropping freestyles to Meek Mill, Drake, all that stuff. I was always really big on Meek Mill as a mixtape artist. Okay. I'm even talking pre-Dream Chasers. So once he dropped Dream Chasers, I was like, man, I feel like one of the hardest songs I knew at the time was Burn by him and Big Sean. And not only just the beat was hard, but like I just feel like both their verses, they was going crazy, like, almost like trying to outdo each other. And I was like, shit, if I can drop a record above that, like on that, like if I can drop a verse or two on that. So I made a freestyle of that song with 4-0, and that was really where I think like I started getting like finally noticed as a lyricist. So then, you know, like I did a bunch of like the like we would rent out Turner Hall for our birthday and sell it to show ourselves. And then that turned into like the person from Turner Hall hitting 4-0 up about opening up for Yellow Wolf. And then that's kind of how I met Chris Carnes.
So Turner Hall, let's not like let's big up what needs to be big up. How many people does Turner Hall hold?
I mean, I would probably say like 600.
You know, as a local doing your own shows, for that's real good, bro.
Yeah. So what we did is we were always trying to get these shows and I feel like we were kind of shooting too low. We were kind of more or less shooting for like clubs and stuff, and like I don't know. But then basically through that we were just like, why don't we just see what it costs to rent out Turner Hall? So actually my 21st birthday was me and 4-0 headlining Turner Hall, and we hired the openers, we hired the DJs, we paid the hip hop insurance, we put down the down payment, like all that stuff. I mean, mainly 4-0 had the money at the time, but regardless.
So you had to get some hip hop insurance for the venue?
Yeah, you had to get it, like I think it was like $1,800. It's $1,800 to get insurance on a hip hop or a rap show. So we had to play in front all that. But then we ended up making it back. Like I think we had like 300 or 400 people in there, which is like pretty crazy for like no one knowing who we are, and for me, fresh into Milwaukee. And then it went so well, which was super tight, that when Yellow Wolf was doing the Slow American tour, aka like Ritz was on it, and this was before Ritz signed with Tech 9. But like now he's with Tech 9 and he's, you know, doing his thing. And then Chris Carnes, who is a Red Bull freestyle champion, he was the direct DJ like opener. So that's how I met him, and I was just like, man, the shit that he's doing is crazy. And actually,
he was dope back then too.
Dude, he was I mean, some of his, he does these mixes on YouTube, like I think like 6-7 years ago, that just impressed me so bad. It was like an entire hour's worth of like wordplay. I want to say it's like masters of their like, I forgot exactly what it was called, but I mean, some of these things are like in the 6 digits in views for a DJ just doing wordplay videos, you know?
Wow.
When I first seen him live was the time that we opened up with them, and I mean like if I remember correctly, homie had like an Akai like machine, like a controller, and there was a moment where like he DJ, but he would like get up in front of the whole crowd and like make a live beat in front of the crowd, like right on front, like right on his fucking chest with a controller. And I was like, man, this shit is craziest. And that was when I like kind of was really like opening my eyes to it all. Like, man, this is crazy. Like people like DJs actually throwing a live show. You know what I mean? Right before Yellow Wolf is crazy. Like, homie was on the Red Bull 3 style stuff. And then, like, I don't know, I just became a big fan at that point. And then from that point there, like, I think me and Chris are still, like, friends on Instagram and shit. And he's still, like, I think he does, like, tours with Pretty Lights and shit now, which is huge. But from that point then on, I mean, the music thing wasn't really making a whole ton of money. So I went back to college. And through living on the UWM campus, I got into, like, club hosting. So actually, Dick's, I want to say 5 years ago, when and Dick's was in the prime.
So we don't want. I hate to cut people. We don't want to skip the process, because people need to understand the process, bro. Like, you know, and people think you're new in the game. Whether you start off as a rapper, like this whole culture, man, it's more than one hat you can put on. So you on a tour bus. Let's just explain this, bro. Let's just break it down. Touring, paying for your spot on the bus.
Yeah.
Can we dip in that to a little bit? Bit?
So I mean,
this is for all like up and coming artists, whether that's DJ, you know, it's the steps it takes to be great, man. You know, and shit, it takes years sometimes, bro.
Yeah, and I mean,
real quick though, to your point, like what you were just saying earlier, like about like y'all only had what 300, 400, 500 people, but like the reality of the fact is, you know, everybody think when you want to do music, it's like I was talking to my grandfather about this. My grandfather's like 80 years old. So his perception of doing music is different from then and now. But he was like, I was telling him like, man, you know, it's different. All you really need is, you know, that golden rule, that 1,000 true fans. You get you 1,000 true fans, and whatever it is you're doing, you can really sustain that and live off of that. And as long as you smart and find ways to monetize it, whether it's touring, whether it's merchandise, whatever it is, you can do public speaking and make money off of it. If you got 1,000 people that's willing to come see you on a consistent basis.
Absolutely.
So I think it's important to highlight that. But my bad, keep going.
No, you're good.
So you're on tour. And how does that work? You're on tour. How do you get on tour?
So I'll be the first to say, I mean, I didn't do a lot of like the West Coast, East Coast stuff. I was more or less doing like a lot of the Midwest stuff. But I will say, the tour thing is kind of where you notice like how hard the music industry is. I want to say, funding the music, having a record deal and all that is finding that is tough. And yeah, it is. But just sheerly like being on tour is hard. Like, I don't know what your experience was, but mine was, I was young. I was like 21 years old, 22. And when you pull like the Midwest thing, like it's like either you drive to the destinations yourself and you meet up, and half the times you're not getting paid because you're just trying to make a name for yourself. Right. Or B, worst case scenario, if you are on the bus has a fee to be on it. You know what I'm saying? Like basically what they'll say to you is like, you can be on this bus and you could be the very first opener, and we have 5 openers, but if you don't want to do it, that's okay, because we'll find somebody else. So there's like a $350 monthly fee to be on this bus, and we're not going to pay you any money. You got to buy your own food, you got to buy your own clothes, you got to do your own laundry, whatever, so that's really where I think like it gets lost in a perception of once you're on a bus, it's good to go.
Yeah,
but
you're good.
So that's why half the time I would drive to a lot of my own stuff, but being on the bus when you were doing that, it's different. Like a lot of the times you don't always get to meet or hang out with the headliner because they're doing their own thing or they got their own family time or whatever. And then B, you're paying all this money out of pocket just to get a ride to where you're going. That like a lot of people end up going home and having to stay home and save up some money for a year, 2 years.
Get back out.
Once that shit gets done just to get back out again, because it costs so much money to just get your name out there. And it's a lot different now because this was like a time where we were switching from, now if you're hot on social media, or if you got a record on SoundCloud, or if you got 100,000 followers on Instagram, you can go and be like, yo, give me 10 grand and it's cool. But like this was a time where like MySpace was still the bigger thing. Facebook was becoming cool, and Instagram was like not a lot of people were fucking with it at the time.
Right.
So like the only way you got your name out there was not through social media, having a bot, like, whatever. It was through like going there and playing at 9 p.m., even though the headliner's not going on until midnight, just hoping that 50 people that got there early to get a front row spot would remember you and maybe like go check out your MySpace or whatever,
Right.
So this was at a time where like, I mean, social media was there, but
it wasn't what it was.
I mean,
now,
I think 2010, 2011 is the time I'm talking about, and like, it just wasn't as easy as it is now to put something out on the internet or be a good looking dude on the internet and then get a DJ career, an artist career through that way. Because I mean, how many DJs do you know that are touring nationally that like are playing like a pre-made set? You know what I'm saying? Or like they're playing a mix basically an hour, and they're getting $20,000 because I mean, I'm not gonna name any names, but in general, we didn't have it like that.
No.
So basically, that was the struggle. That was the beauty also in the breakdown, I guess. But that's why I had to come back home once that got finished, and once I was like, because my parents were basically on the whole like, okay, you did this, you didn't really make a whole ton of money on it. Can we please like get you to go to college now? So the music thing kind of took an end, and I went back to school. I moved to the UWM campus with like some of my best friends, and we were throwing crazy house parties like probably every weekend, to the point where my grades really weren't the best. I'm not gonna lie to you, because at this point, like, we were like almost legit like throwing money or like throwing parties to get money for rent type stuff.
Type shit.
But then through that, I started going to like Dick's, and I used to go out and just try to meet bartenders. And I always kind of knew in my head, like, maybe on the side, this house party, this club partying stuff could maybe lead to me getting back into the music field. That was always my idea. So when I got back home, I was like, yeah, okay, I'll listen to my parents. I'll go to college now, whatever. I'll get a day job. But the whole kind of idea in my head was maybe somehow, God's going to throw me a good roll of dice here, and through hanging out at clubs and meeting bartenders and meeting promoters and all that stuff, and then doing house parties and getting people engaged in my parties, and my friends' parties that maybe this could work out again somehow. So I kind of like threw everything away and kind of just gave it all up to God. And then, you know, we started going out to Dick's a lot. And then it was actually a really crazy story because me and DJ JB,
shout out to JB. I gotta get him on the. We've been missing each other, man.
He's a big
we gotta get you on here, JB. For real.
Yeah, he's putting Milwaukee on the map right now pretty well. But he's kind of a big person that I have to thank in a lot of the aspects. But the way that whole thing kicked off was me and JB have the exact same birthday. So nonchalantly, we both had VIPs next to each other for our birthday at Dick's.
Not knowing?
We didn't know who each other were.
Okay.
Like
okay.
I kind of maybe thought that was him, like, you know, whatever.
Right.
But I wasn't sure type thing. We met then, and then I just started going out more. I used to go to Oak every Tuesday, which he was a resident at. And then through that, like, it was like I would always then from that we like became super good homies, and I would like be in the DJ booth with him, like kind of like hype manning him, and you know, saying birthday shout outs on the mic and all that. So then I like kind of went into a situation where my homies were all like getting girlfriends or whatever, and we were all going to split up out of our college house. So then I kind of like ran out of a place to live. So then JB let me live with him. So then I lived with JB for 2 years. And that was like just the coolest thing ever. I mean, just to see that dude's hustle from a household aspect, like waking up, going to the studio, preparing tracks, and going out. I mean, that dude works 6-7 nights a week. Like he's got like 6 weekly residencies, which is absurd. But so then I would just go out with him, you know, and then that turned into like us talking to Mike, who was pretty much the front man at Dick's at the time. Now he's at 720. Shout out to Mike. But, you know, and then he gave me my first chance as a promoter, and we started the Milwaukee House Party, which just recently ended, but I'm super thankful for it because that party lasted 4 years.
Super good
every
night.
Friday. And then, you know, basically through like watching Jay, learning through Jay, I was like, you know what, I actually really like this stuff. And I think Jay does it, you know, differently. Like he really cares about all of his nights. He curates them. And, you know, like he's just such a high energy guy when he's DJing. Like it's just kind of inspiring to see, like, you got DJs that are gnarly at, you know, scratching. You got gnarly turntablists. You got your EDM artists, whatever. But he's just kind of like the best of every world. And like the one thing I always really liked about him when he played was like the surprises that he throws in. Like he makes these edits that just throw the whole crowd for a surprise. And then I was like, this is really cool. So then he used to have a setup at home. And I remember one night I was like bored. And I was like, hey man, like, cause he was working that night. I was like, would you mind if I played on this a little bit? And then I farted around with it and I liked it. And then long story short, you know, we both moved out and moved downtown. And then I bought like a DDJ SR from Shannon from Shakin'. What's up, Shakin'? And then that moved into an SX. And then I sold the SX and bought an SZ. And then I have the SZ and I bought some techs and so an S9, which is now like my home practice setup. And, you know, the rest was kind of crazy because I never planned on like DJing publicly. I was always DJing at home, you know, because there was a time where, you know, like I'd say in the past year or two, everybody started becoming DJs. Yeah. And I was kind of like, fuck, man, I don't want to be this guy that's like going to get hated on for it, you know, because I started off with all these other routes and now I'm just getting into it. And then it's going to turn into this hate fest. But luckily I kind of followed like Sopa and Dex's shoes.
So let's rewind just a little bit. Now, the DJ scene, I don't want to be the guy that just hops in, you know, and everybody thinks like I'm just coattailing, you know, but
which is really the main thing that I wanted. I didn't want to go until I was at least somewhat ready.
Right.
You know, I wanted to make sure that everybody knew that I was serious about it.
But you've been serious about the music since the start and the grind. It might not have started like I did.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Carrying crates, hopefully get a 5-minute spot before Doc B goes on at this prime or this, you know, but it's still all the grind. It's the whole grind, man. You have to start somewhere, and you've been started.
Yep.
And people think that just because you just now on the wheels presenting yourself as you,
right?
Now people go, oh man, dude, man, he just getting he getting all these breaks because he know everybody or he a promoter or da. But nah, man, it's a grind, man. It's
I mean, if anything, I probably just went about it the reverse way of everybody else.
Right.
You know, most people learn how to DJ and then they have to learn how to get people to the club every weekend so they can stay booked. You know, so I some people.
The truth of the matter is too is like, man, and I think this is a good like almost like a mission statement for even this podcast in regards to like we talking about FYoDJ. I feel like when we talking about a DJ, it's really a representation of the culture. You know what I'm saying? It's not even about just DJing, because a lot of the stuff that we talk about on here can be applied if you're a promoter, an artist, a producer. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times it's interchangeable. People who are producers or artists, and you know what I'm saying, et cetera, et cetera. Like that's just a part of, you know, the culture that this like hip hop thing is. Like I think that's, and not just hip hop, but I'm just saying like in general that culture. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So which leads me to my next question. So does a DJ need to be a promoter in some way, shape, fashion?
So I watch these podcasts pretty avidly.
Right.
And I noticed you guys ask this question almost every time. If we're talking a couple of years back, no, not necessarily.
All right.
We talk about time and climate. Exactly. You're 100% correct.
In this day and age, absolutely. I really do feel that. Not only because I was that, and not, you know what I mean, and now it just thinks well, but it really helps to have some kind of positive reach to people around you. I obviously think that there's a certain like at least bare minimum amount of skill you need to have to go with that promotion. But I do believe that in today's day and age, if we haven't already like settled the debate, I believe that promotion is a very large part of your schedule.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is too. It's
one thing is like let's deep dive a little bit into it. So I always see, as of late, I'm promoting my night. I'm Monday night at Mango's. I see cats, you know, like in New York, I put like a funny picture, like, you know what I mean? Is that like the new thing to do?
Yeah.
Or, you know, you'll put up a chick, you know what I'm saying, with no clothes doing something like this, like, oh, meet me at Mango's, you know what I'm saying? We got hot wings or something weird like that. You know what I mean?
I live off of it, bro.
You know, so elaborate. How do you come up with that stuff to just, because I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. Like I'm the dude that go, man, pull up. You know what I'm saying?
Type deal.
Hashtag pull up. I'm on the decks tonight.
I mean, we're all guilty of that. Like sometimes, you know, I've had a long day, I'm tired as hell, and I get lazy with it. But for the most part, I think that the funny promo is like the best promo. When I was like early stages of promoting, Jay still does this actually, but one of the coolest things that we used to roll with back in the day was Who Did This? And we actually made a monthly party at Oak and then site called Who Did This.
What was that?
So essentially the way it started was, I think Jay started taking pictures of like people at Oak on Tuesdays getting like super fucked up. Like let's say they were like passed out on a chair. It was their birthday. They were passed out on the chair with like a bottle on them or something. And then he would post that photo with like hashtag Who Did This, you know? Because like the first thing you're gonna think when that person wakes up the next day, like, damn, who did this shit to me? You know?
Right.
So then it turned into like I was the Who Did This guy hella times when me and him were kind of rolling together. Too many times. But like, you know, like I remember one night it was like crazy as hell at Oak on a Tuesday. I was in the booth with him. He was playing. This was before I was DJing. And like I was headbanging so hard that I headbanged the motherfucking CO2 tank.
Right.
And the logo of the CO2 tank was bruised on my forehead. Like legit concussion and everything. Like I still sometimes see that photo like come up, you know? So like I always think the funny promo is the good promo. You know, like somebody who I really respect right now, I think they're killing the promo game, is like Strategy and Dolo in Chicago.
Okay. Like
every week they try to take like a 90s or 2000s or even a modern day like TV show or movie, and they'll make like a 1-minute skit of it with them in it.
Wow.
For their party. So like for example, like when the Packers were in Chicago the other week, one of the coolest ones I've seen them do was they made one of like the Packers being in town for the Bears. And you remember like the Saturday Night Live skits where like the Bears guys would sit all around the table. Yeah. They remade that skit of like, and Strategy was like choking on some food or whatever towards the end. It was like them, they kill that shit. Like they make a full ass fucking production value of it. But in layman's terms, I mean, there's like cool promo, like, you know, like the DJ walking in slow-mo in a video with his backpack up to the shit, you know, and then, you know, everybody's hands in the air. And those are cool too. But I just think the funnier promo is the best because I think that, you know, none of us are like rock stars or celebrities really, you know, we're cool with the people that go out with us, you know, we're not cooler than them. So if we're cool with them and we're not cooler with them, I think it lets them know that we're humans just like them.
Accessible.
When it just lets you know like I'm a real ass human being too. Like I just headbanged my ass on a CO2 shit and I got a concussion from it. I was partying so hard, you know. But like y'all have been there, you know, your 21st birthday, you probably threw up on a cop car, or whatever it be.
Right.
So that, like, you know what? It's more like a come hang out with me than a come see me because I'm this big fucking name type thing.
Right.
So I think the funny promo lets you know it's a little more personable.
Right.
And I just think that the best way to reach somebody is to make them laugh. You know, the best way you know someone's happy and they're willing to go out and see you is by making them laugh. I think so. I always like a good funny promo.
Word. Hell yeah. So what's next for you, bro?
Right now, I've just been kind of it's really hard for me right now because I'm probably one of the remaining dudes that work a full-time day job. I work for Google during the day, which is cool. And then I try to DJ as much as I can at night. But I'm kind of at this zone where like I average like let's say like 15 gigs a month. I want to do more, but like I have a homie out in like Detroit and another homie out in like St. Louis. They'll hit me up. But it's like I can't do it because 6-hour drive there, play.
You got a job. You got to make it.
So I'm kind of at that point where I'm stuck because I can't say yes to like day gigs, or I can't say yes to like hella out of state gigs besides like Chicago or Indiana because I got to work the next day.
Right.
So I think the next thing for me, probably honestly, as crazy as some people are going to think I am for saying this, is I'm probably going to quit Google in the next 6 months to a year. Like maybe work there, for a little bit longer, but and then really just give it everything I got. Like right now, I feel like I'm, 15 gigs a month is cool. I think that's pretty solid. That's like an average.
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
The most I ever had was like 20 or 21, but I was worn out and I was not feeling it. That was like maybe 6 to 10 hours of sleep for a whole week. It wasn't worth it. So I think I'm at that point now, which actually, thank God I am. I think it's a blessing in disguise to be at that point where you can't take any more gigs because the day job gets in the way. But I think that's the next move so that I can start opening myself up and really start giving it everything I got.
Right. Which is a harder thing to do, bro. Because there aren't no to-do lists, there are no task lists for you handed to you. Like, all right, cool. As a DJ in the daytime, this is what you do. You have to make money. You have to go seek money. You have to make a list of things for you to accomplish. So by the end of the week, you are making steps towards that bigger goal, man. You know what I mean? So I look up to these younger guys, bro, because it's now the now time, and you're going and using whatever resources that you have, bro, and you have to just move and truck forward, bro. And I see that. I see it. This guy is making moves. Y'all better recognize, bro. Y'all taking a fucking joke.
Right.
Man's in the back door, like, hey, man, give me.
You gotta put some respect on his name.
One time. How can catch? I'll reach you.
Instagram is probably the best. I got my handle's just Rutger Krieger. Otherwise, I have that same name on Facebook.
Whoa, spell that, bro.
RUTGER. So like it's like the college, the Rutgers minus the S, and then Krieger. So that's probably the easiest way to get in touch with me. Otherwise, RutgerKriegerBookings@gmail.com.
Word. Shit, that's how we do it. Real quick, FYoDJ the podcast. ELR, what's good with you?
Hey, man, we just gotta. I feel like there's a lot of gems. You know what I mean? Somebody better hit replay, go back. You know what I'm saying? Catch you a little something.
For real.
Sharpen up. You know what I mean?
You can start a ping. You know what I'm saying? DJ, a podcast for DJs, by DJs, ELR, my man Rutger right here. And this is how we do it, man. We'll catch you next time.
Thank you for having me.
No problem.